Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, then hi. I'm making a template. I'm going to make something that a subscriber suggested, and I hope I've done it justice. Stick around. Please stay till the end. It helps us out so much. This is to say thank you to my members, my subscribers, my watchers, my likers, my people who stick to the end, because that's the most important thing. That helps us a lot. So I've made a basic template. Did I measure it? Did I heck? I don't measure anything. Numbers and me just don't work. I doodled it and then drew around it on another piece of card, so it kind of worked. At least I think it did. The skull in the background, that's from a previous make. Have a look through my channel. There's all sorts of stuff in there. Oh, please don't go back into the old stuff though. Oh my god. I mean, I'm bad at editing now. You should see it then. Ooh, yeah. So I'm drawing around my template, and I am going to be doing a story to go along with this. It is still based around Hansel and Gretel, which is the idea of the story, but it's the dark side of the home. I think I've done it right. That was the idea that Sally at Smarty came up with. I will link her channel in the description. And I kind of like the idea. And it popped a little brain cell in my noggin and thought, well, okay, maybe the parents weren't a-holes. Maybe there was something that turned them into bad people. Maybe the witch was just so evil that nobody could even think about what she could have done. So, hopefully the story kind of makes sense. So I'm drawing around my template, and what I'm going to do is score down the sides when I've done it, when I've cut it out, to get the folds. And it's kind of almost there. I mean, I am no architect. I have no idea what I'm doing. I am making this up as I go along, which is basically me in a nutshell. But it kind of works, and I kind of work backwards, because at some point I do decide it needs lights. And did I think about that to start with? No. Do I have the right light I need? No. I end up using a cork light. I do have one of those little tiny box lights somewhere. Do I know where they are? Do I heck? I've looked everywhere. And you know, when I don't want it, when I don't need it, it'll turn up. Bet your money on it. The only lights I've found are the partial Christmas tree lights. You know, those like string of 20s, but the box is way too big to fit in this house. Because I'm doing a mini house. It's not going to be massive. I mean, if I'd have thought about it first off, then it probably would have worked. But I didn't think about it until halfway through. So yeah, I'm scoring the sides so they fold up nice and neat. And the first box, I did kind of practice with it and sellotape it together to make it look as though it was a whole piece. And it did sort of work. It wasn't completely whole because, again, I didn't measure. And it was just, well, yeah, me just winging it. But you can see it's coming along. You can see it's a house and it's going to fit on this cauldron piece of wood. Now, in hindsight, it wouldn't have mattered what was on the bottom. I kind of used it as a nod to the witch. But looking at it now, you can't actually tell that's a cauldron. And that's fine. because that wasn't the whole point of the story, and it wasn't the whole point of the build. And yeah, it gets covered up a lot. Do I like the end result? Actually, I really do. And it's surprised me what I can do. I would never have thought I could build a house as small as this, or even any house, and still be upright and still look like a house and not flop about in the wind. You see, the point of this house is to get it so it looks like the front is a normal, bog standard little cabin in the woods, no problems whatsoever. But the back is the dark side. It's the side that says, oh no, what is going on here? And when you listen to the story, it will tell you what is going on. Now, again, hindsight, if I'd have thought about it, I would have cut out the windows first. I didn't do that, because I wasn't actually going to have windows. I was going to have the illusion of windows, like that I do have the illusion of doors. So, yeah, I kind of changed my mind halfway through, because, well, that's me. But now I've got the template, I can do it again. And I can actually draw the windows, cut out the windows, and think about things before I do them. I say that. Yeah. Don't think I will, actually. I know what I'm like. I'm a off the cuff, off the hoof, go with the flow, winging it kind of person. I wish I could do the numbers thing and measure and make sure everything's at 90-degree angles and all perfect, but I'm not perfect. I can't do perfect. It eludes me. And you know what? It's worked so far. Knowing things don't have to be perfect actually helps me. Because if I had to be making things that were perfect, I think I'd quit. I do, I really think I'd quit. I don't plan. I can't plan. My brain can't do that. I have ideas and I jot them down and then eventually I remember I've done that and come round to something. So this bit was the tricky bit, because I needed to cover that bit up, because I hadn't thought about that actual gap when I put the whole thing together. So I just cut out a little piece and shoved it in, and job's a good one. You will see me take this slightly apart, because I need to get a light in. Because, you know, like I said, it's halfway through and I changed my mind and want lights. Now, I do this because I want a chimney, but I don't want to make it too big, so I end up cutting little pieces just to make the chimney on top of the roof. And again, it works, because I kind of cheat. Well, it's not cheating, it's papier mâché. Papier? I mean papier. No, can't say it. Paper mâché. There we go. And that's not cheating, that's an actual technique. So, I'm tired. I do apologise if I sound a bit screwy. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I said the word tired and that made me yawn. Very odd. So yeah, I'm putting the chimney stack up, and that bit's going to be made of stone. The illusion of stone. Obviously it's not going to be made of actual stone. I'm just trimming it all down, making it all nice and neat. And what I'll do is make sure it's all nicely firm and glued down, and then the next stage will be to add the loo roll, toilet roll, tissue, you know. And that glue, no good. Maybe if you want to have to put a couple of pieces of paper together and stick something on it and wait 3 years for it to glue dry, yeah, it's really sticky. Don't get me wrong, it's sticky enough to glue stuff together, but not good for what I'm doing. I do have a pot of watered down PVA. Do I know where that is? No heck. I've shifted again. Every time I shift, I lose stuff. It'll turn up. Same as my, what do you call it? That thing that goes round and round that you put your things on to take photos. Turntable, there we go. It'll turn up when that does. I've had to cheat and do something on Canva to get you a little bit of a image rotation thing. Oh, my words are really bad tonight. So yeah, that glue. But maybe it's me, because I'm impatient. And I've had that much trouble with tech issues this week. Issues? That I'm rushing. I really am rushing. So it probably wasn't as dry as I'd liked it to have been. But what do? You can't just wait and wait and wait. I mean, it's Friday night. It's 10:15. This video is for 6:30 tomorrow, and I'm out all day tomorrow with my little man. So I've got to do it now. Complete. Luckily, I've got my story already done. I'm just guessing here. I'm trying to get the paper so it fits into all the nooks and crannies and makes it look quite smooth. I do suggest water and PVA. Don't just use normal glue on its own. Well, not this stuff anyway. Didn't like it. What I'll do is I will cut up a lot of pieces of card into strips and cut out a couple of doors. That came in really handy. So I needed it to air dry on its own, and I'd got nothing to put it on. But thank you, JD, for sending me Grinchy. He worked. And I lost a lot of footage, which, in hindsight, with how long this video is, was quite lucky. Because otherwise, this would have been an age long. So I'm using little strips to make it look like wood sidings, because after all, this is a woodcutter's cut. Oh dear. A woodcutter's shack. Home. And I've also cut up lots of little squares for tiles to go on the roof. That took an age. As you can see, I've got the chimney on. And I've covered it in tissue, and that's to strengthen it. Although I do have to go in quite a few times to strengthen it a little bit more. And I will be adding all these sidings on one at a time. It's very slow, it's very painstaking, and this is actually sped up, would you believe? It looks like it's not, but it really is. And it's quite simple to put everything on. Dab a bit of glue on, get it with a brush, place it on. Now, at some point, some of this will just fall off, and I have to start again. Well, not again, but I have to fix what I've broken. I've got the doors on, I've got the windows on, but I need more and more of these smaller pieces. So I'll just keep cutting them down until I get them to fit. Now, these are all just little boxes that are kept to one side and thought these would make a treat. And this whole side's going to be just sidings, because they're a modest family and they don't need a lot of home comforts, and so one window at the back, one window at the front, and double doors at the front too. That's all they need. It's a little shack for 4 people, old-fashioned. They all sleep in the same room and they all live in the same room. So it's like really old-fashioned, all very close quarters. You don't see the inside because I didn't do the inside, but that is something I want to challenge myself with. To actually do a mini house with a mini inside. I'm thinking maybe doing the same sort of template but having it cut in half so you can open it up. I don't know. I have to think about that one. That actually could be quite difficult. So I'll call my bits and bobbies together, and this is where I decide I need lights. So I stab the heck out of it and try and cut holes into the actual cardboard. This is where I take off the doors, take off some of the roof, and just make a mess. But it's all fixable. Except for the roof, I do kind of, yeah, that's where I'm saying it's rubbish glue for what I need it for. This is where I'm going to be taking off the roof and trying to force that cork inside. It does work. I do super glue it to the actual roof, but looking at the roof you can see a gap. But the gap needs to be there for me to be able to get into it to switch the light on. So this is not perfect. Like I said, it's far from perfect, but it works. Now I'm using this glue, the Yoo-hoo glue. It's much better. Oh, the hole in it is that tiny. I have to keep stabbing it because it gets stuck. There's always some issue with me and glue. I have a right problem with glue. That's probably because I just chuck it everywhere. But I'm putting the doors back on, roughly, so you can see that there's a hole inside. But this house, although it's supposed to be good at the front and bad at the back, it is showing you that it's kind of rustic. It's very overtaken by the vines, and the darkness has crept in, the loathing, which you'll understand what the loathing is when the actual story comes on. And to me, this story is about depression taking over, which is what the vines are. It's causing people to hate, to not care, to stop loving, and basically that is what depression does to you. There's a lot of morals in this very short story. I just when Sally said the storyline, it was like, oh, I know exactly where I'm going with that. Yeah. And this is where I'm trying to figure out where to put the lights, how to get the lights in, and just, well, stop being a muppet. I eventually figure it out that I can just about squeeze them in through the top, but I do have to cut the top open. And I'm trying to fix what I've broken. The sidings, the tiles, and the windows. But that back window is fine to be broken because that one has got the vines going through it when I put them on. So it's a lot easier. And it just kind of represents the creeping darkness that comes in and just takes your soul, stops all the love, stops all the happiness. Yeah. So like I said, this has got a couple of morals in it. You know, one, don't let the darkness take over. Step outside. Get away from it. And the second one is, just because something acts nice or looks nice or twinkles and sparkles, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Could be a trick. And that goes with people too. Not everyone is what they seem. Always be on your guard. That's basically the premise of what this story is about. God, I've just suddenly made that dark and twisted. But that is what I wanted. I wanted to make it dark and twisted. It's supposed to be the dark side of the Hansel and Gretel house. So, I'm hoping you think this works. Even if it doesn't work, the story, it has come across very, very cute. Creepy cute. And I do like it. And it's kind of made me think that if I can make that just out of cardboard, what else can I make? So, yeah, if anybody's got any suggestions, just write it in the comments. I like to be challenged. I like my brain to be whirring for a purpose. Most of the time it's not whirring for a purpose, there's just ideas pop, 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 and I don't know where to put them. So sometimes, if somebody else gives me an idea, then I'm like, oh, I see. And then my brain goes off onto a tangent, and then I bring it back. It's kind of weird how my brain works. I'm a creative soul, and I can't help it. It's just, I can't seem to get it to settle in one place. So now I'm using polymer clay. The cheap, nasty, horrible stuff. That I keep saying is cheap, nasty, horrible stuff, but kind of does work for what I need it. So now I'm making sort of like a garden barrier type thing. So it'll be painted, it'll be greened up and grassed up, and I'll put some moss on it to look like little hedgerows and make some cardboard to make it look like fences, because, you know, the front's going to be like the white picket fence, the whole garden thing, but the back is like, it's broken, it's dilapidated, the life's been sucked out of it. At least I hope that's how it comes across. And the vines will be coming up into the roof and in the chimney and sort of like coming around the sides to try and envelop the house. But it will have little bits of twinkle here and there, and they are the little twinkles that subconsciously I can't say that word, subconsciously make the children follow. But Hansel, of course, is clever. He leaves breadcrumbs. But he's not that clever, because, well, it's a forest and there's birds, and they like bread. And now the story's about to start. I really hope you like it. It's not too long, it's about 10 minutes. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoy. There are forests in this world where the trees lean close to one another. Their branches like bony hands, their whispers carried through the air in a language older than man. It was into such a forest that I cast my gaze. A place shunned by hunters and avoided by children who dared not stray too far from the village. For in the heart of those woods lived an old crone, a woman whose house was said to be older than the trees themselves. The villagers called her witch, though few had ever seen her with their own eyes. But her presence was felt, always. It crept under the shutters at night, brushed through dreams, and lingered in the hush of silence when children ceased their laughter, and it was not long before the villagers came to understand that the witch did not wait for children to stumble to her door. No, she sent her curse out to find them. The witch was a lonely creature, twisted not only in bone but in heart. She longed for youth, for laughter, for the taste of innocence, and so she conjured a spell, one that would root itself in the very earth. From her hearthstone she birthed a seed, a string of shadow and hunger. When she planted it at her doorstep, it writhed, and from it grew the first of her creepers. These plants were no ordinary vines. Their tendrils slithered as if alive, black-green ropes slick with dew that glistened like the scales of a serpent. They stretched themselves outward, crawling through roots and soil, winding between rocks until they slinked out into the forest. There they lay in wait, listening, for the witch's magic had given them ears, not for words, but for joy. They were hunters of happiness. The creepers drank deep of joy, twisting it into bitterness. Families who once sang around the fire now quarrelled until their throats were raw. The air in such homes grew heavy, thick with lethargy, poverty, hatred. Parents looked upon their children, not with love, but with burden, and in their darkest hours they wished them gone. So it was in one small home at the edge of the forest, where a woodcutter lived with his wife and their 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. The creepers had found them. At first the woodcutter came home weary and short-tempered. His wife, once gentle, now grew cruel and sharp. Food dwindled, or so it seemed, though their garden bore as much as before, and each night the vines tightened their hold. Soon the parents quarrelled endlessly. The wife hissed that the children were mouths too many to feed. The husband, clouded by the creeper's poison, nodded in hollow agreement, and so with heavy words and heavier hearts, they drove Hansel and Gretel into the forest. The children did not understand the cause, only the cruelty of it. But Hansel, wise beyond his years, thought to drop breadcrumbs as they walked, a pale trail of hope that perhaps their parents would regret their choice and follow it back. What the children did not see were the faint glimmers along the path, tiny sparks of light twinkling like fallen stars. These were the creepers' veils, leading them ever deeper, unseen tendrils writhing behind. Hansel and Gretel pressed on, hunger gnawing at their bellies, fear thick in their throats. Behind them the vines slithered, invisible save for those fleeting sparkles. The breadcrumbs they dropped gave Hansel comfort, but the forest is no gentle place. Birds hungry themselves pecked at the trail until only crumbs remained. Back at the woodcutter's house, the spell had already begun to break. With the children gone, the creepers uncoiled and slunk away, for there was no joy left to drink, and as they withdrew, so did the veil of loathing. The husband and wife blinked as if waking from a nightmare. Love for their children returned, crashing upon them like a wave, and with it came horror at what they had done. Their mother wept bitterly, and the father swore they must find the children before it was too late. But Hansel and Gretel, lost in the deepening forest, stumbled upon something wondrous and terrible. It was a house unlike any other, its walls of gingerbread, its windows of sugar glass, its roof tiled with cakes and candies. The air itself was sweet, thick, with the scent of honey and baked bread. Their stomachs growled, and though their minds whispered caution, their bodies could not resist. With trembling hands they broke pieces from the house and devoured them, and it was then that she appeared, the witch. She stepped forth from the doorway, her form bent, but her face smiling, her eyes alight with false warmth, her voice cooed like a lullaby. Her words welcoming, she bade them enter, to rest, to eat their fill, and though their hearts quivered with unease, the children were weary, starving, and obeyed. For a time it seemed they had found sanctuary. The witch fed them cakes and meats, filled their bellies until they could eat no more. She stroked their hair, whispered soft promises, and lulled them into a fragile peace. Yet beneath her smile was hunger, a gnawing hunger no feast could satiate. By night she sharpened her knives, her eyes glinting in the firelight. She imagined Gretel's tender flesh roasted, Hansel's bones cracked for marrow, but the witch had made a grave mistake. She thought them ordinary children, dulled by fear and want. She did not see the sharpness in Hansel's eyes, nor the quiet strength in Gretel's heart. When the witch at last revealed her cruelty, locking Hansel in a cage to fatten him, Gretel did not weep. She watched, she waited, she listened to the witch's murmurings, to the creak of the oven, to the hiss of the creepers that still slithered faintly about the house. And when the moment came, she was ready. The witch commanded Gretel to test the oven, to see if it was hot enough to roast. Gretel, feigning innocence, asked how she might know. The witch, proud and foolish, leaned in to show her. With a sudden shove, Gretel thrust the witch inside and slammed the door. The witch screamed, a shriek that split the forest and sent the creepers writhing in agony. Fire roared and the vines shriveled, curling into ash. The spell was broken. Hansel and Gretel freed themselves and stepped out of the burning house. The sky above seemed bluer than before, the sun brighter, birds sang once more, their voices no longer stolen by sorrow. The creepers had vanished, their hunger ended with the witch's death. Back at their home their parents searched desperately, their hearts heavy with guilt, and when at last the children returned, weary but alive, the family fell into one another's arms. Love had returned, fierce and unyielding, and it would never again be so easily stolen. And so the tale of Hansel and Gretel became more than a story of two children lost and found. It became a warning, whispered by firesides, told in hushed voices, beneath moonlight. For there are still creepers in the world, waiting to drink the laughter from homes that forgot to guard it. The moral etched into the hearts of those who hear it is this: when darkness descends, when loathing and bitterness creep in, step outside into the sun. Look to the blue of the sky, to the brilliance of the day. Remember that not everything that sparkles will lead you somewhere safe. And remember too the bravery of two children who defied despair, who burned the witch, and who saved not only themselves, but every happy home that might have been consumed by her vines. For Hansel and Gretel were not merely survivors, they were heroes. Heroes for all children and guardians of joy. So what did you think? I know it's a twist on an original story, and the original story was absolutely fantastic. But what do you think to the twist on it? The witch making a creature that found children to steal joy, to install hatred and disillusionment and all the things that your brain can do to you. Because like I said, this has got a couple of morals, and it's a lot like depression and a lot like false people who come to you in life and you think are great and then realise that actually, no, they're just an a-hole. They may look pretty and shiny on the outside, but you really shouldn't follow them. So yeah, a lot of people need to think about that one. I know I did. I did for a long time. And not anymore. I don't follow anybody that I don't think I can trust. If I'm not around somebody, that means a lot. It means I don't trust you. I'm not a person that follows blindly anymore. I don't take people face value. And this is kind of what this story says. Think about what you're doing. Think about who you're following. Think about who you are associated with. It's not always the right fit for you. It can actually harm you more than you think. And yeah, don't let the dark thoughts enter your head. Just try and ignore them, walk around them, do things to avoid them. Do something nice. Don't just sit there and accept all the bad stuff that comes into your head. Hate and self-loathing and dark thoughts are not always good for you. In fact, they're not at all. So this may be a story about children and a witch and candy and sweets and cakes and all the things that you think are good. They're not. They're not good for you at all. Take one day at a time. Look at your life. What makes you happy? Stick with that. Don't try and fit in. Be your own person. Because you are you. And that's all you can be. Don't be trying to be somebody else. Don't copy. Be your own person. Don't follow the crowd. Do your own thing. So, if you did like that story, please leave me a comment. If there's something you think I could try next, also leave me a comment. And if you've got this far, I really do appreciate you, because I am talking nothing but waffle. I really hope you enjoy it. Take a look at the photos when I've finished. And I hope to see you all again in the next one. Thank you so much for being here, so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!